Today, I will share with you a story that might challenge all your previous notions about God and spirituality. Get ready for a journey full of profound and transformative discoveries. In Raúl Sanabria's account, you will learn about the astonishing experience of a man who, after a near-fatal accident, uncovered truths about God that traditional religion never revealed to him. If you enjoy thought-provoking stories that change the way you see the world, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss new content. My father, Santiago, was always my model of strength and determination, and I wanted to honor his memory by achieving success. Life in Houston was a constant whirlwind of commitments, meetings, goals, demanding clients. I lived in overdrive, so absorbed in my career that I barely noticed how I was drifting away from the truly important things. My spirituality and family took a back seat. I grew up in a deeply religious family. My father was devoted to a just but strict God. This harsh viewpoint shaped my childhood and gradually alienated me from faith. I couldn't reconcile the image of a loving God with that of a being who punishes harshly. As the years went by, my faith became a distant memory, buried under layers of rationality and skepticism. But everything changed in an instant. A mundane moment turned into the biggest turning point of my life. I want to tell you how a near-fatal accident confronted me with profound truths about God, life, and spirituality that forever altered my perception of everything. I won't hide anything. I will share everything as honestly and directly as I can. It may seem unbelievable, but I ask you to remain open. My experience redefined my understanding of life and death, and I hope it can inspire you in some way. It was a sunny morning in Houston. The sky was clear, and the heat was already felt from early in the morning. After an important meeting, I decided to take a break and go to my favorite cafe before heading to the next appointment. As I walked down the busy sidewalk, my phone rang. It was an important client, one that couldn't be ignored. I immediately answered, focusing on the conversation and almost completely ignoring the world around me. Suddenly, I was sharply brought back to reality. A deafening sound, a loud thud, as if something heavy had fallen to the ground. Instinctively, I looked up. A large wooden board was falling directly toward me. There was no time to think or react. The impact hit my head directly. The pain was indescribable, as though lightning had struck my skull. My vision went dark, and my legs gave way. I fell onto the hard pavement. My phone slipped from my hands and shattered somewhere far away. Voices around me sounded as though they were distant, like through a veil. Some people were shouting, others were calling for help, but I barely had the strength to understand their words. The world began to dissolve as if I were sinking into the Black Sea. While I struggled to stay conscious, something unexpected happened. An intense blue light began to fill my peripheral vision. This light was unlike anything I had ever seen. It didn't blind me or cause my eyes any pain. On the contrary, it radiated a soothing warmth and created a sense of peace that sharply contrasted with the excruciating pain I was feeling. At that moment, it became clear to me that something much greater was happening, something beyond my comprehension. The blue light grew brighter, filling all of my vision. The pain began to disappear, as though it were being washed away by this glowing entity. I thought, this is it. This is how it ends. But, to my surprise, I was not afraid. On the contrary, I was overwhelmed by a deep calm, accompanied by an almost childlike curiosity. And then everything went dark. But the darkness didn't last long. Soon, the same blue light returned, now brighter than ever. It seemed not only to shine, but to penetrate every part of my being, as though it was becoming a part of me. The pain had completely vanished, replaced by a warming sensation I had never felt before. When the light surrounded me, I felt something strange and liberating. It seemed as though my body was dissolving, but I wasn't afraid. On the contrary, I felt as if I was shedding an invisible burden I hadn't even known I was carrying. I felt lightness, almost ethereality. Then I realized I was floating, as if an unseen, benevolent force was lifting me. From this new perspective, I began to see the world completely differently. Everything seemed small and insignificant. People, buildings, cars. It was like looking at a carefully crafted model. The higher I rose, the more everything diminished to a single point of light in the vastness before me. Time and space seemed to cease to exist. Suddenly, I heard a voice. It was soft, almost like a whisper, but at the same time clear and soothing. "Everything will be okay. I will bring you to a safe place." There was something in this voice that conveyed deep kindness and understanding. Every feeling of fear I might have had disappeared instantly. Continuing this surreal journey, I realized that I was being led to a specific place. I didn't know what awaited me there, but deep down, I was certain it would be something extraordinary. Soon, the city of Houston completely disappeared from my sight, and I found myself in a realm that surpassed all human imagination. The place was indescribably beautiful. Around me, stars and planets shone with an unfathomable brightness. The colors were brighter than anything I had ever seen on Earth. Blue, deeper than the oceans, red, more intense than any sunset. There were even colors I had never seen before and could not describe in words. The peace that reigned in this place was so deep that it seemed almost tangible. There was no fear, only a feeling of belonging and harmony. Then something caught my attention. Before me appeared a staircase, but it wasn't an ordinary staircase. It seemed made of crystalline light, both solid and ethereal. Each step radiated a soft glow, as if inviting me to ascend. With each step, I felt something change within me. It seemed that the cares and fears of my earthly life were peeling away, layer by layer. The air filled me with a fresh floral scent, reminding me of the gardens of my childhood in Puerto Rico, but with an intensity that was 1,000,000,000 times greater. Reaching the top, I saw a bridge made of white stone. The stone was almost transparent and radiated a warm light. Around the bridge, flowers of bright colors bloomed, seeming to emit their own light, dancing in the air. Beneath the bridge flowed a crystal-clear stream, whose gentle murmur sounded like a heavenly melody. Crossing the bridge, I felt an indescribable peace. Every step felt like an approach to something great, to someone or something I knew deep in my soul I was about to meet. On the other side of the bridge, I was met by a shining light. It was so intense that it could have blinded me, but for some reason, I could look directly into it without discomfort. The light seemed to call to me, like a quiet but irresistible invitation. As I got closer, shapes began to emerge within the light. Familiar silhouettes, though blurred, evoked something deep in my heart, as if a veil was lifting. My heart, or whatever in this state was replacing it, began to beat faster. I was on the verge of meeting someone or something that would change everything. The further I walked, the clearer the outlines of these forms became. Then I recognized the faces. They were my deceased relatives, people I hadn't seen in many years, some of whom I had never met in life, but whose stories had always lived in my heart. The first person I recognized was my father, Santiago. He looked exactly as I remembered him, yet somehow different. His eyes glowed with wisdom and indescribable kindness. He smiled at me. The smile was full of love and acceptance, warming every cell of my being. Next to him stood my paternal grandmother, who passed away when I was still a child. She looked incredibly young, radiant, much more so than in any photos I had ever seen. Other faces appeared, my uncle, cousins, friends who had left too soon. They all looked at me with eyes full of love and understanding. Without hesitation, I ran to my father. The distance that death had placed between us vanished in an instant. When I embraced him, I felt indescribable joy. It wasn't just a physical embrace, but as if our souls had reunited and merged as one. "My son," he said. His voice was exactly as I remembered it, but now clearer and purer. "I am so proud of you." These words hit me like a wave. How often I had dreamed of hearing them. How many nights I had wondered whether I had honored his memory, whether I had lived up to his expectations. "Father," I began. My voice trembled. "I miss you so much. I have so much I want to say to you. So many questions I want to ask." He smiled and placed his hand on my shoulder. "I know, my son. I know everything. And I want you to know that I have always been with you, even when you couldn't see or feel me." My grandmother stepped closer. Her gentle smile enveloped me with an indescribable sense of peace. "My dear," she said, "you've grown. We are all so proud of you." I looked around at the smiling faces. It felt like a family gathering, but much deeper and more meaningful. There was no judgment, no anger, no regrets. Only pure, unconditional love. But my father became serious for a moment. "Raúl, my son, you must know that it is not yet your time to stay here with us." A weight pressed on my chest. How could it be that my time had not yet come? I was so happy, so at peace. How could I return? "You still have a mission on Earth," he continued. "There are people who need you. Important things only you can do." My grandmother placed her gentle hand on my shoulder and reassured me. "Do not worry, my dear," she said. "We will always be here, waiting for you. But now it is time to return and live the life that has been given to you." I wanted to protest. I wanted to stay in this place of love and peace. But deep within, I knew they were right. Something inside me told me that my journey was not yet complete. "Remember, my son," my father said, his eyes glowing with wisdom. "The love we have for you knows no time or space. We will always be with you and guide your steps." With one last embrace, I felt it was time to go. But before I left, my father took my hand once more. "There are still things you must see and understand before you return," he said. "Be open. What you will experience soon will change your life forever." With a heart full of love and tears in my eyes, I left. Their silhouettes vanished in the light. But before I could mourn the goodbye, I felt a new presence approaching. It was different, even more powerful and majestic than anything I had felt before. The light around me, already bright, became even more dazzling. It didn't blind me or feel unpleasant. It seemed like pure energy was coursing through every cell of my body, a presence that radiated absolute love. Then I understood, in a way words couldn't convey. I realized I was standing before God. But this was not the God I had imagined in my life. Not the strict and punishing God that my father had taught me to fear. This presence was pure love. There was no condemnation, no curse, no guilt. Only acceptance, compassion, and limitless understanding. The power of this love was so overwhelming that I knelt down, or, at least, felt that I did, for I was not in a physical state. It felt as though all the love in the universe had gathered in this place, shining upon me and completely surrounding me with its light. Tears flowed down my face as I realized how many mistakes I had made in my life. All the moments when I drifted away from spirituality, all the doubts I had about the existence of a higher power, now seemed meaningless. At that moment, I heard a voice. This was not an ordinary voice. It was as if the molecules around me were vibrating, transmitting the message directly to my soul. "My son," the voice said with such love that I could barely bear it. "You have walked with your eyes closed for so long, but now it is time to see the truth." I wanted to respond, to ask 1,000 questions, but I felt that I could not form the words. It wasn't necessary. The divine presence seemed to understand every thought and every feeling. "What you experienced on earth as God is only a dim reflection of the truth," the voice began. "People, in their limited imagination, have created a distorted image. I am not a harsh judge, nor a distant king on a throne. I am love that permeates all of creation." These words resonated in my soul with an indescribable power. It felt as though every cell of my being was being retuned to understand this fundamental truth. "You do not need to fear," the voice continued. "There is no eternal punishment, no condemnation. There is only love, teaching, and growth. Every soul will, sooner or later, find its way home." I felt my belief system being completely transformed. Everything I had known about God and spirituality was deconstructed. It was frightening, but at the same time liberating. Finally, I asked, why is there so much suffering in the world? Why do terrible things happen if God is love? The answer came not in words, but in a profound realization that enveloped my entire being. Suffering, I understood, was not punishment, but an opportunity for learning. The problems of life were tools for growth, means of developing strength, compassion, and wisdom. I stayed there, absorbed in this divine presence, taking in truths that transcended human language. I felt as if I could stay here forever, but a gentle feeling made me realize there was still more I had to see and understand. Reluctantly, I began to move away from this light, feeling that something inside me had changed forever. As I moved away, I noticed a new figure approaching. Unlike my relatives or the divine presence, it had a more human form, yet still radiated love and almost tangible light. When it approached, I was overwhelmed by a deep sense of recognition, as if my soul knew exactly who this was. It was Jesus Christ, but he was not as the images I had seen in churches or religious books. He did not wear a crown of thorns or luxurious garments. He was simple, dressed in humble clothes, but radiated light and love that seemed to encompass the entire universe. His deep brown eyes were full of compassion and understanding. When he smiled, it felt as though the whole universe smiled with him. "Raúl," he said, his voice both soft and powerful. "Do not be afraid. I am here to help you understand." I wanted to kneel, to bow my head before him, but Jesus gently placed his hand on my shoulder, preventing me from doing so. "There is no need for that," he said with a smile. "Here, we are all equal. We are all children of one Father." He began to walk, and I instinctively followed him. As we walked, the landscape around us changed. I saw majestic mountains, endless oceans, green forests. Everything was full of life that surpassed any human understanding. "You saw the Father," Jesus said, referring to my previous encounter with God. "Now you understand that he is not the vengeful and punishing entity that many think he is." I nodded, still unable to say a word. "My message on earth was distorted over the centuries," he continued. "I came to teach love, forgiveness, and compassion, to show that the kingdom of God is within each of us. But people, in their limitations, turned these simple truths into dogmas and rigid rules." As he spoke, scenes from Earth's history unfolded before me. I saw how his words were interpreted and distorted, how wars were waged in his name, and how fear was used for manipulation. But I also saw how the love he taught, despite everything, continued to touch people's hearts and change their lives. "Raúl," Jesus said, stopping and looking me directly in the eyes. "Now you must make a decision." My heart began to beat faster. "A decision? You can stay here, in this place of peace and love," he said. "Or you can return to Earth and take with you what you've learned." I remained silent, pondering his words. Staying here was incredibly tempting, but something inside me knew that my time had not yet come. "Before you make your decision," Jesus said, gently touching my forehead, "let me show you something." Suddenly, visions overtook me. The first vision showed my mother, Isabel. My heart clenched when I saw her. She was sitting alone in her rocking chair, gazing out the window of our house in Puerto Rico. Her once black hair had turned completely white. Her hands, once lively and nimble, trembled slightly. But what saddened me most were her eyes. Eyes that were once full of joy now appeared dull and filled with sorrow. I saw her spending her days alone in that large, empty house, looking at pictures of our family, of me, of my father. Quiet tears rolled down her wrinkled face. I wanted to scream, to embrace her, to tell her that everything would be okay, that I loved her. But in the vision, I was just an observer, unable to intervene. The scene changed, and now I saw my son, Miguel. My little boy, whom I often left behind in pursuit of career success, was no longer a child. He had become a young man, facing problems I could not even have imagined. I saw him struggling in school, being teased by other boys. The pain in his eyes was evident as he looked at the empty chair at the dining table, the chair where I should have been sitting. One scene especially broke my heart. Miguel, now a teenager, sat in his room holding a picture of me. "Why did you have to leave, Dad?" he whispered with a broken voice. "I need you." The visions continued, showing me other family members, friends, and colleagues. I saw how my absence affected each of them in different ways. I saw missed opportunities to show love, to make connections, and to make a difference. But there were not only scenes of sorrow. Jesus also showed me moments of joy and triumph that I could have experienced if I chose to return. I saw myself hugging my mother, her face illuminated with happiness. I saw myself teaching Miguel how to drive, laughing at his first awkward attempts. I saw myself helping other people, using my experience and knowledge to change something. When the visions ended, I was exhausted, but filled with a new understanding. I looked at Jesus, whose face continued to radiate compassion. "Now you understand," he said softly. Your journey on earth is not over. There is still much to be done, many lives you can touch. I nodded, unable to say a word. The power of what I had seen was overwhelming. I understood the pain of my detachment, but I also realized how much I could still achieve if I chose to return. But remember, Jesus added, if you decide to return, it will not be easy. There will be difficulties, pain, and moments of doubt. You will carry the burden of the knowledge you've gained here and realize that not everyone will understand or believe in your experience. I took a deep breath, or at least I felt it in this non-physical state. The decision was now clear to me. I want to return, I said firmly. I need to return for my mother, for my son, for all those I can still help. Jesus smiled with a smile full of love and approval. You have made a bold decision, Raúl, and know that, no matter what happens, you will never be alone. We will always be here, guiding your steps. He placed his hand on my shoulder, and I felt a wave of strength and courage fill me. I was ready to return, ready to face whatever the future had in store for me. At the moment I made my decision, I felt an instant shift in the surroundings. The warm light from the other world began to fade, giving way to a calming darkness, which, like a blanket, enveloped my consciousness. Jesus looked at me one last time. His eyes were full of love and understanding. Remember, Raúl, he said. His voice echoed as his image gradually faded. The love you felt here will always stay with you. Carry it in your heart and share it with the world. I felt myself falling, but there was no fear. It felt as if I were being gently returned to my body, like a feather floating in the air. As I descended, my senses began to gradually return. First, a tingling in my fingers and toes, then pressure in my chest, as if someone were rhythmically pressing on it. Through the darkness, sounds penetrated, muffled voices, the hum of machines, the characteristic sounds of the hospital. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my head, reminding me of the accident that had brought me to this incredible journey. The pain was intense, but strangely, I greeted it like an old friend, a sign that I was alive. With great effort, I opened my eyes. The bright light of the operating room blinded me for a moment, and I blinked several times, trying to clear my vision. The faces of doctors and nurses appeared before me. Their tense expressions shifted to relief when they noticed that I had regained consciousness. "He's back," someone exclaimed. "It's a miracle." I wanted to speak, wanted to tell them everything I had experienced, but my throat was dry and painful. All I could manage was a weak moan. A nurse leaned over me. Her kind eyes carefully examined me. "Mr. Sanabria, can you hear me?" she asked. "Blink twice if you understand me." I gathered all my strength and blinked twice. I saw the relief appear on her face. "You had a serious accident," she said softly. "But now everything is okay. You're in the hospital, and we will take care of you." As she spoke, I felt a comforting presence beside me. I couldn't see it with my physical eyes, but deep in my soul, I knew I was not alone. The loving light I had encountered on the other side was still there, giving me the strength to face whatever lay ahead. The doctors continued to work around me, checking my vital signs and adjusting the equipment. I heard snippets of their conversations, something about how my heart had stopped for several minutes, and how amazing it was that I hadn't suffered any brain damage. Exhausted but deeply grateful, I closed my eyes again. I was here. I had been given a second chance, and I knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The days following my return were a mix of physical trials and deep emotional revelations. Recovery was difficult. My body had endured severe trauma, and I needed time to fully heal. But with each passing day, I felt stronger not only physically but also spiritually. The doctors were amazed at the speed of my recovery. What should have been a long hospital stay was shortened to just a few weeks. They couldn't explain how the head injuries, which initially seemed so severe, miraculously healed. However, I knew I wasn't alone on this healing journey. I constantly felt the loving presence I had experienced on the other side, which gave me strength and helped me overcome each obstacle. As I grew stronger, I began to reflect more deeply on everything I had experienced. Each morning when I woke up was a gift, a new opportunity to live with gratitude and purpose. The concerns that once consumed me, career success, social status, acquiring material wealth, now seemed insignificant. I realized that the love and support of my family are irreplaceable. My mother, Isabel, immediately came from Puerto Rico when she heard about the accident. Seeing her by my side, caring for me with such love, made me realize how much I had neglected our relationship in recent years. I vowed that this would change. My son, Miguel, was also there for me throughout my recovery. In his eyes, I saw both fear and relief, and it made me understand how much he needed me, not only as a provider but also as a father, a friend, and a mentor. I promised to be more present in his life, to give him my support, and to share all the love I had rediscovered within myself. My perception of God and spirituality also changed completely. The God I had known was no longer the distant and punishing entity I had been taught to fear. He became an inexhaustible source of love and acceptance. This new understanding brought me peace I had never felt before. I began to reconnect with my spirituality, but in a different way, no longer through empty rituals or rigid dogmas, but through direct communication with the divine. Meditation, prayer, and charitable work became an integral part of my daily life. As I began to share my experience with friends and family, I realized that not everyone understood or believed what I had gone through. Some thought it was the result of trauma, others thought I had become confused due to the medication, but this didn't bother me. I knew the truth in my heart, and that was what mattered. I decided to use my second chance to change people's lives. I began volunteering at the local hospital, comforting and giving hope to terminally ill patients. I shared with them what I had learned about life after death and the unconditional love that awaits us on the other side. My attitude toward work also changed. Instead of solely striving for profit and personal success, I began looking for ways to use my knowledge and abilities for the good of society. I started socially responsible projects at the company and encouraged my colleagues to engage in important causes. Every challenge I now face is accompanied by the confidence that I am not alone. I know that a higher power is guiding and protecting me. And no matter what the future holds, the love I experienced on this journey beyond this world will always be with me and will guide me on the right path. My experience of clinical death was not just a turning point in my life, but a revelation that love and acceptance are the true pillars of life. Today, I see the world with new eyes and cherish every moment and every interaction. This is my story, a story of death and rebirth, fear that turned into love, doubts that became faith. My hope is that it will touch your heart and inspire you to live each day with more love, gratitude, and meaning.